right, welcome everyone to the Speed Traveller betting preview for the Indy 500. We haven't actually done one of these before, but Chris and I have a lot of experience in betting. We've actually been barred from quite a few sports books over the years.
Only one or two.
We're going to share some of that insight tonight. We're just going to do a quick review of some of the good value bets in the Indy 500. So, Chris, how are you doing tonight?
Charlie, I'm doing great, and I'm really excited about this because this is going to prove, I think, to be a very interesting Indy 500 because there's a lot of controversy surrounding it. And with a rookie driver with his first attempt getting pole for Prima, a brand new team to IndyCar, I think it's going to be super exciting. So,
yeah. And I'm looking at the times from Friday for Carb Day, quote Carb Day, even though there's no carbs anymore. But and I'm looking at the times, and interesting that Newgarden, who's starting at the back of the pack, was fastest of all.
You know, honestly, it's a Penske car, so I'm not too surprised by that. But again, a lot of the controversy that's surrounding the Indy 500 this year is based around the Penske team. So, I mean, the numbers for him to win the race they're reasonable numbers, but I don't think there's any chance that Penske, any of the cars, Scott McLaughlin, Will Power, or two-time defending champion can win the race on Sunday.
You know what? That's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up, Chris, because starting 32nd and 33rd, it's tough. You know, I mean, yes, they have the fastest cars. Newgarden probably has the fastest car right now, but he's going to be back in all that fracas in the back. And, stuff happens in the back, and it's not like he's just going to be able to pull off the back and just wait. He's going to have to actively try and get to the front. And so he's going to be in the middle of all the chaos.
Both of those cars are going to have to race from the light. It's not going to be controlling the race. It's going to be moving forward. And something else that's not being talked about, and I'm surprised it's not showing on the betting odds, is that Cindric is not going to be there. A lot of the top personnel are not going to be in the pit box managing the race for both of those drivers. So another issue working against both those Penske drivers. Scott McLaughlin starting I think he's starting a 12th or 13th? A 13th.
Right.
So again, I really feel like, the numbers, they're trying to lead you into saying that they have a shot. And I think that's the house just looking for free money.
Yeah. And you know what? I just pulled up the betting odds. And once again, Chris and I have a long history in the sports betting world. And we made a lot of money off of betting, basically finding opportunities in the props world, and whether it was baseball or basketball. And all we did, there was no magic to what we did. All we did was we found where some books had differing odds. So I'm just going to read over some of the odds right now. Alex Palou is the favorite at plus 450 to win the Indy 500.
On which book are you looking at, Charlie?
I'm looking at Sports 411 right now. Okay. So I know you've got a different book up, and that's good because we can compare. But I've got Alex Palou at plus 450 now. Alex is really adept at winning championships, but I don't know if you know, Chris, but he really hasn't won very many races on oval. So I think those odds, you're paying a huge penalty for betting the guy that's won the championship most recently.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Charlie. Alex Palou he's obviously, a two-time defending champion. The Chip Ganassi team they're at the top of their game right now. Their second driver in Scott Dixon. Probably the most experienced driver in IndyCar racing at the moment. They're absolutely fantastic, and it's really hard not to take that safe bet with an Alex Palou. But right up there with them is Pato O'Ward with the McLaren. And he's really, really hungry because last year he lost. Last year was 2 years ago. Last year he lost the Indy 500 on the last lap to Joseph Newgarden.
I think he's been second twice.
Yes.
And Pato is really unlike Alex Palou. So if you're able to do a matchup bet, Palou versus O'Ward, I like O'Ward all day long because O'Ward's been up at the front for every race basically he's been at Indy. So I really like if there's a matchup bet between Palau and Award, I really like Award because that's a great point, Chris, is that he's been up at the front for the last 3 years.
Yeah, and there's a number of other drivers that you absolutely have to put up there for consideration. I mean, we saw what happened in qualifying with, once again, Takuma Sato showing incredible pace at the Indy 500, a race he absolutely loved. I think it's the only race that he's actually doing this year, but
Yeah,
he's a two-time champion.
right.
So, but his numbers, they're not, his odds are not nearly as favorable as to, his chances to win are so good as they are for Alex Palou and Pato Award. So at what is it, at plus 900, so what is that? That's a 18% chance of winning.
It's 9-1.
9-1. So, so Takuma was a good bet.
Yeah, I've got 10-1 on my site.
Okay.
So I would, if you're going to go bet the Indy 500, I would shop it around and find the best odds. I've got 10.5-1 on mine, and I agree, Chris. That's a great bet. I mean, I don't think Alex Palau. I mean, I'll probably be eating crow on Monday morning after this for our review show. But Alex isn't that great at ovals. He's only a big favorite because he's won the last couple championships. But Takuma Sato at 10-1, I mean, that seems like a good bet. But do you see, looking down your odds, do you see any other bets where somebody might want to put, 10 or 20 bucks on someone that's has some big odds?
You know what? And that's a great point, Charlie, because it's always good to have your number one driver that you're going to think is going to win. You're getting the good odds on, and they're most likely going to be at the front of the race when push comes to shove. But it's always great to look at that second bet, that secondary bet, to kind of go for that, that Teoscar Hernandez just swinging for the fences home run, and or if you're on the East Coast, it's Mr. Judge. But I'm looking at Alexander Rossi and Kyle Kirkwood to be some outside aggressive drivers for the win. Alexander Rossi having won the 500 in, I believe it was 2019. And Kyle Kirkwood has shown pace. And I think, honestly, from the Andretti team, Kyle Kirkwood's the man you got to look to be competitive.
Yeah, and that's really it's great that you brought that up because, what I generally do is I'll bet, $100 on a big favorite. In this instance, I'm not going to bet Palau. I'm glad that you're having a Maui brew, by the way. I need to go get another shot of Tequila 512 right now.
I'm actually having a Maui Brewing peach mango hard tea. It's actually quite refreshing. This is the perfect weekend cocktail.
Yeah. So what I like to do is I like to bet a favorite, and then I like to bet two dark horses. And that's, a great way to make some money. In 2024, we end up being plus 30 units in NASCAR betting doing that same strategy. Right. So I like what you just said. I mean, Kyle Kirkwood, we've got it like 28-1. I mean, that's a really good guy that's really good on the ovals. I mean, I feel like that's not a good I'm looking right now at Kyle Kirkwood on my site. I know you've got a different site. I've got Kyle Kirkwood at 22-1. So I would definitely take a little bit of Kyle Kirkwood at 22-1.
30-1 here for Kyle Kirkwood. So these odds are pretty. These are some strong numbers.
Yeah, and while you talk about your picks, I'm going to go get a bottle of 512 tequila.
Well, you also have to look at some of the other drivers from the other nations. The Swedes and the Finnish have shown great pace, and Marcus Ericsson at 20-1 is a very good dark horse bet. There you go, a little 512. Cinco Doce. Marcus Ericsson he's a strong driver. He's shown well here at the Indy 500 in the past. He's got some skills, and at 20-1, it's a nice outside bet.
Absolutely, and you know what? I'm seeing Scott McLaughlin at 11-1. I mean, the nice thing is you can bet a few people, and have so on my side, I'm looking at $20, let's just say, on Pato Award. I'm looking at $20 on Takuma Sato at 10-1. I'm looking at $20 on Kyle Kirkwood at 22-1.
Yeah.
And you know what? Here's a crazy one, Chris, is that Ed Carpenter 70-1. I mean, he's an old guy. He's run at the front before. I know they didn't qualify that great, but 70-1, it might be worth $10. $10.
It's hard. It's hard not to take that bet. There you go. It's hard not to take that bet. But Ed Carpenter, I think, I don't think he's going to run it as hard as he possibly can. I mean, when push comes to shove, the race car driver's going to come out in him. If he finds himself in the top 5 with 15 laps to go, 20 laps to go, it's a different game. It's a different driver. It's a different mentality. We both know that from our experience on the road courses. So it's not a bad bet, but something we're totally overlooking. And it's unfair to do this is Robert Schwartzman for Prema Racing, brand new team to IndyCar Racing. We saw their setup at the Long Beach Grand Prix. They looked so pro. It looked like every other team in the paddock was starting to copy their aesthetic and the way they were setting things up. And look what they did in qualifying.
Sort of like an F1 setup, wasn't it? Like it was really a very professional setup.
It really was. And he's on the pole. I unfortunately don't see him winning the race. And I don't even see him, to be fair, I don't even have him listed as my top rookie at the end of the race.
Yeah. Well,
which is kind of mean because they're so professional looking.
Yeah, it should be a great race. I mean, it's a tight field. And I guess at the end of the day, let's see, let me ask you what your top 3 are. And then top 3 betting odds, and then we'll go from there. I mean, I can go first if you want.
No, I'll go first because I have two that I want to put in my top 3 for win, place, and show, and I'm not even certain who I want to put in my winning box right now. And in no particular order, I'll say this right now. In no particular order, I'll say it right now. My top 3: Scott Dixon, Takuma Sato, Pato Award.
Yeah. And those aren't bad. So we got Dixon at 8.5-1, Takuma at 9 or 10-1, depending on where you're finding it. And what was your award?
Pato Award.
Yeah. So, I mean, those are good. Even if you bet all 3 of those guys at $10 each, or let's say $100 each, if one of those 3 wins, you're still going to make positive money. So
yes.
I'm with you. I'm going to go Pato Award, Scott Dixon, and I'm going to go a little crazy, and I'm going to go Kyle Kirkwood at 22-1 as my 3rd pick.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And
I like that. I mean, now, but those are my 3 primary bets. Those are my bets that I'm saying, if I'm picking my top 3 to actually win the race, that's where I'm going to put my safe money. But to the dark horses, there's no way I'm counting Kyle Kirkwood or Alexander Rossi out of that conversation.
That's a really good point. I mean, it might be worth putting $5 on Kirkwood and Rossi because you've got huge odds on those guys. And if one of them comes in, it's going to make your day. It'll cover your costs of your other safe bets. To say,
there's 33 drivers in this field that start on Sunday at the Brickyard, Charlie, and we've talked only about a few of them. Are there any other drivers? I actually it just kind of popped in my head. I have another driver that I feel always runs hard and runs strong, but I have another driver that I would probably have to throw into the mix to at least being a troublemaker.
No, I'd love to know your final dark horse pick before we move on.
Santino Ferrucci.
Oh, I love that. Santino Ferrucci, I'm looking at his odds right now. AJ Foyt, we're hoping 90-year-old AJ Foyt makes it out to the race. It's in our yearly betting pool if AJ will actually make it to the race or not. But Ferrucci, it looks like Ferrucci's 20-1. Not bad.
Yeah.
I like that bet. And I'm going to say on my side, Renus VK. Renus
Ooh.
VK at 125 to 1.
Yeah.
So so if you bet $10 on VK and he wins, you're gonna score $1,250. So
Yeah. That's a nice payday. He's starting on the back row,
and
so
but he's
it
been
doesn't
good.
matter.
He's
You
been good
know,
in Indy. Yeah.
it's the Indy 500, as Danny Sullivan did. What was it, in 1989? He spun it and won it.
And it
Was it
was.
89? What year was that? 86.
I don't 80, maybe 82. I don't
Was it
know.
that early?
Somebody
It may
can
have been 82. Well,
somebody can put it in the
Well,
comments.
who was running? The young lad that didn't quite make it. Of the 34 runners, only one. You know what? This is our question online. Who was the
Yeah.
34th participant in qualifying that did not make it in Indy 500?
Right.
Actually driving the Danny Sullivan Miller Time
I love
tribute
that.
vehicle.
All right. Well, those are our picks. We're going to come back in a few minutes and we're going to cover the Grand Prix of Monaco. This is the biggest weekend in racing. We're going to be up at 6 a.m. on Sunday morning watching Grand Prix of Monaco. And we're going to give our picks for Monaco. And then we're going to watch Indy 500. But there definitely is a way to make some money. One quick thing, Alex Palau, I see matchups all over the place on some of
Yeah.
the sites. And Pato Award is a proven commodity on ovals, and Alex Palau is not. So I would take Pato Award all day long on a head-to-head matchup.
On this oval track, 100%.
Yep. All right, we'll be back soon with the Grand Prix of Monaco updates and betting advice. And if you guys have, Chris, you're finishing your Maui Brewing right there. I've had about 3 shots of the Tequila 512. But leave us some comments, and we'll talk to you guys soon.